Hello. I would like to inform you that what you're about to listen to are the views and comments from the hosts and guests and only reflect their own views and not the community as a whole. I hope you enjoy the podcast. And Eddie, play that banter section.
Did you know I turned down an invitation to Park Row to be here today?
Really?
Well, my friends are there tonight and they randomly messaged about an hour ago going, hey, do you want to come join us? We're drunk. And I was like, no.
Why?
I am recording a podcast with Eddie.
No, you should have ditched me and gone to that Park Row.
Yeah, but it takes way... they asked me at 6:30. I would only have got there at 8.
I still would have ditched this.
Eddie, I don't want to go without you. Who would explain all the nerdy shit to me?
I feel very called out for that. Very called out. Jeez. Andy's very silent because he doesn't want to partake in the banter section.
Oh, Andy, do you remember the conversation we had in Paris where we said if we ever came on this podcast together, we'd just talk about planes for hours?
You know, that's an excellent point. And this is a no context one, isn't it? So, let's just plain talk it is. Huzzah.
My dad's just been at the Paris Air Show. Saw some great...
Eddie, hit the intro music now. Just do it now.
No, we're still going to talk about the Paris Air Show. TSR2 is an awesome plane, though. Have you seen that one at Duxford? Because they got one at Duxford, they got one at Cosford as well.
What, the black...
Andy, this is not the Grand Prix podcast that you can interrupt the intro. Shut up. Anyway, hello everybody. This is Ed.
You say it's not the Grand Prix podcast, but I mean, I feel like you've laid down a gauntlet at this point, and this is an in-joke that only you and I are going to get. But you know,
yes, it is. Yeah. Anyway, hello everybody.
This was entirely your idea as well that I interrupted.
This is the Talk About Podcast, a weekly podcast about cosplay, Comic-Con, and everything else. I'm your host Eddie. This week is another unscripted podcast. Yay, I got it through. Oh, yay! I'll say that more coherently. Hello, everybody. This is the Ed Talk About Podcast.
The smart thing to do would be to record this later when we're not here.
That would be, yes, but I will.
I haven't done anything. How dare you?
A weekly podcast talking about cosplay, Comic-Con, and everything else.
The best thing is he invited us.
We
here.
are talking
we didn't
about.
Shut
up! This week we are unscripted, so anything can happen. Chaos ensues.
Yeah.
As you can hear, chaos is ruining my life at the moment, and as well as hay fever and this summer, this heat wave and all that. Oh. Joining us on the podcast is Andy of Hood Cosplay and Charlotte Woolrych Photography or Cosplay, which way you want to look at it. Hello, you both.
Hey.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku. And then proceeds to go boom, 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 boom. Fun times.
We're here to talk about photography because it's too hot to do anything else.
Or
cosplay. Talk about planes and Star Wars.
No, that's already in the banter section. We're going to park that to one side.
I'm not going to lie. I'd love to talk about Star Wars, but I don't know enough about it and I will get called out by my friends, so I can't.
Oh, okay.
Did you not go to the Star Wars Celebration?
Oh.
Did you not do like a load of Star Wars cosplays?
Yeah, well, I did 2 Star Wars cosplays. And I've got another one coming. But I do enjoy Star Wars, but I'm not... there are so many people, some of my friends included, that if you don't know every detail of every person who's ever existed in this, and seen all the films and comics, blah, 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 then you might as well be dead from the vibes I got.
Wow. Gatekeeping fucks by the sounds of it.
Like, the only fandom I've ever met people who've actually been nasty is Star Wars.
Join Star Trek, it's a lot better.
Now, we've had this discussion before about the whole, is Star Wars a toxic fandom? And there was definitely a toxic element to it, but I think, in their defense, it's more just due to the size. The larger the fandom is, the more toxic people...
Doctor Who's got some bad eggs as well, and that's massive.
Oh God, yeah.
Whoa, I'm in it. I bring the record up, right?
Anyway, so as I was saying, we're doing an unscripted. There's a reason I'm doing unscripted because
is it because Eddie's editing photos?
That is exactly the reason. So I want to be using this time to record a podcast, but also not lose time on editing photos. So I thought I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Can you hear me clicking right now?
Yes, thank you for interrupting, Charlotte.
Oh, sorry.
Are you editing photos as well, Charlotte?
Well, I was going to, but if you can hear me clicking, I won't.
No, don't worry. I can edit it out. Don't worry. I'm not going to edit this bit out, but I can edit out the clicking. Don't you worry.
No, it's fine. I just won't.
No. I'm going to look. You can hear my clicking now.
Only if you do that.
Yeah. That's fine. It's fine. It's not a problem. So anyway, two of us are going to be editing photos during this podcast. So hopefully we'll still have an interest in this podcast.
I'm not editing photos, but I do have a clicky pen here. So I can I'm joining in.
Amazing.
Is that the same clicky pen from GoldenEye from what's his name? Boris, that's it. Yeah.
Invincible. No, this one actually says McLaren on it. I picked this up some random weirdo at MCM.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I don't think that's a weirdo, but I thought that person gave it to you out of friendship, good enough his heart type of thing.
No, I'm pretty sure it was a weirdo.
Fair enough then. Yeah, cool. No, to be fair, I am a weirdo, yeah. Oh, no, that was me. Shit, yeah. Gave that game away. But anyway, let me do my 7-day catch-up. Andy, how are you? How's the last 7 days for you? Good, huh?
Look, joking aside, the last 2 weeks have been pretty fucking terrible. And I'm not going to bring the crowd down with that. So I'm going to say, yeah, all good.
I privately, I know. So we'll just say yes and move it along.
We'll say it's all gravy.
It's all gravy. All gravy. Also, although I won't have, no one's going to understand this little passage about saying, I want a right to reply to Elton stealing my idea.
Who stole your idea?
Was it your idea though? Was it?
Ish. Apparently someone else had that idea a couple of seasons ago.
No, it's just that Elton never said it was. Elton clearly stated it was his idea. He was very, very, very clear on that.
Yes, he might have said it. Doesn't mean it actually is true. It's like someone saying, there's a fixed amount of money that could be poured into the NHS weekly on a bus. Doesn't mean it's true.
I thought we weren't going to go there, but apparently we are.
I'm not going there. I'm just merely saying, if someone writes something on a bus, doesn't mean it's true. That's all I'm saying.
Also, if they say it on a podcast, doesn't mean it's true.
Very true. Anyway, Charlotte, how are you? How about you? How was the last 7 days for you? You've been somewhere recently, I've understood.
Yeah, I went to Ascot this week, which was fun. Very warm, but very lovely. Royal enclosure, wandered about, won some money, lost some money. What was quite funny was the huge number of people that had foregone alcohol for iced coffee because it was so hot. So you had lots of people in very, very small outfits drinking iced coffee out of a plastic cup, which was really brought the mood down. That was a nice Wednesday.
Sorry, there's a part of me that's you're judging them by going, you're bringing the mood down. Oh my god, you're drinking.
I know, I was one of them.
Champagne. Oh,
it's a really funny thing because you're in such like a fancy environment because this is the one where a lot of the bigger, like from what I understand, I know nothing about racing, a lot of the people who've got like the bigger stables have stakes in the races. I just see horses and I bet on the ginger ones. And so everyone there's like, and then obviously on like the fashion side, like you want to look your best, blah blah blah. So there is something quite funny about seeing like people with plastic takeaway cups full of iced coffee, because normally it's so much like you've got a glass of champagne, you've got some Pimm's, and then there's just like it's too hot. Everyone's gone for iced coffee. All the men are dying in their suits. One of the blokes did say to me, he said, I'm so hot. It's really the women are so lucky. I went, well, it's just revenge for like 400 years of us having to wear corsets, really, isn't it? Sorry, you had to wear a hat for one day.
I know, it seems so equivalent of punishment, really.
I know. I was like, I do feel bad for you because they are in like wool jackets. They're not allowed to take off, but also, oh well.
So you're saying that if I turned up with shirt and jeans, I would not been allowed in?
Oh, Eddie, the thoughts that they're actually going to let you into Ascot, however you dress.
I am
cute.
I'm very hurt by that comment, but also, yeah, very true.
Can I be clear? I just want to be. I was a guest as well, which is why I'm like flippant. I don't understand horse racing. I just got invited.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I literally was about to say earlier, but I totally forgot. But I was going, how posh are you?
I'm not that posh. I just get invited to nice things occasionally.
Sorry, Andy, did you get invited to Ascot?
Yeah.
Not this year, but I was busy. They knew I was busy. It's on the calendar.
You don't get invited by Ascot. Like, people buy tickets, and my boyfriend's mum was like, "Do you want to come with?" I was like, "Sure."
Well, my boyfriend didn't invite me.
No, my boyfriend didn't invite me. My boyfriend's mum was like, "Do you want to come?" I was like, "Yes, I do."
But did you enjoy it? No, generally, did you enjoy it?
Sorry, I was just taking a sip of water. Yeah, I really enjoyed it because, and this is a dumb thing to enjoy, but I really do enjoy like the fashion aspect of it, because there are quite strict rules, but within the rules you can wear stuff that you would never be able to wear anywhere else. So it's stuff like, can you get your hat to match your dress, both colour and shape-wise, which is very boring most of the time, but then suddenly it becomes like a really fun game. And like, there are very few occasions where you have to think about your outfits in terms of that, but I'm someone who really likes being told exactly what to wear. So it's quite relaxing knowing, as long as it fits within all these criteria, I can just play around with it. So I went slightly vintage this year, which was fun.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
Yeah. Eddie's like, all right, fashion, I'm out.
No, it's not that. I
he's editing photos, so he's not actually paying attention.
No, I was just thinking how you liking the fashion. You liking the fashion probably goes with the cosplay aspect of in your brain that goes, oh, that's how that's looking, all that, and then you're probably trying to break it all down.
I only cosplay characters that I like the outfits of. That's controversial. It doesn't have to be a character I love. If they've got a nice outfit, I will consider it.
Also, to be fair, I cosplay and I don't have an ounce of fashion sense at all. So, I mean,
I've seen you in your Star Trek uniform. I beg to differ.
Well, no, that's cosplay though, isn't it?
It's still fashionable.
It is very fashionable, although not in this heat.
No, God no.
Oh God, not yeah. I can imagine. Oh God, geez, yeah. Let's talk about the heat. Oh, gee, I don't want to. It's already a headache. Anyway, so as I mentioned, we're doing an unscripted podcast. We're just going to be talking about what's been on our mind recently, and
well, I'm not allowed to talk about what's on my mind because apparently it's too controversial. So
too controversial. Charlotte and I are going to carry on editing, but we are listening. But I'm going to let Andy talk first.
Okay.
Because clearly he won't shut up. So therefore, let's let him just talk first. Let him speak what he's on his mind, what he wants to talk about. It doesn't have to be cosplay related. It could be anything to do with his life. And me and Charlotte will try to contribute and comment on his life. Yeah. So, Andy, the floor is yours. No, don't pretend you're not talking now. Don't pretend. All right, this is all your time now. You can talk as much. Oh, for fuck's sake!
I love how you invite us onto this podcast, knowing exactly what.
It would be really annoying if we started talking over him like he just did to us, wouldn't it?
What do you mean? I did to you guys. You're talking over me. I'm the host. I should be the one that's in charge.
Mama Charlotte is stepping in. Boys.
Yes.
Right. We're all going to be nice. We're going to let Andy say what he wants to say. And if it's interesting, then we'll respond. And if it's not, then we can talk.
If it's not, you're going to get a lot of photos edited, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm not editing.
Okay. 2 words for you both.
Well, I am.
Star Trek. Let's talk about Star Trek, shall we? Because there's been a lot of Star Trek news, and there's new episodes of Star Trek, and there was a Star Trek thing, and I've written a Star Trek thing. So let's talk Star Trek. Why not? You like talking about Star Trek, don't you, Eddie?
I love talking about Star Trek.
There you go.
I love it.
Where do you want to start?
Especially
Star Trek talk.
Oh,
do you want to talk about the cancelled Star Trek talk, or the new Star Trek talk, or the special event Star Trek?
Let's not talk about the last one.
Okay, then. Because we're salty about that. Just to be clear.
Oh, very salty.
We're very salty.
Very salty. Very salty. But we'll leave that out.
Yeah.
But no. Let's talk about the cancelled one. So no, you talk. This is yours. Your little floor. I'll shut up.
Well, look, it's a podcast, and a podcast works best when there's a back and forth. I do believe you call it a bit of bants, isn't it? That's what the kids say. Star Trek Prodigy. I don't know how many people out there watch Star Trek Prodigy. Actually, I don't even know if it came out in the UK. Did it come out in the UK?
Not technically, no. Okay. But if you've got Paramount Plus, or I've been shorthand calling it P Plus.
PP.
If you've got P Plus, then you can watch it there. So it's not on any terrestrial TV or any satellite channel.
Sorry, can you do a brief synopsis just so I'm up to date? Because I do like Star Trek, but there are so many new ones coming out now, I cannot keep track.
Oh, don't worry. They got you covered, Charlotte. They're getting rid of loads of them, so you're fine.
Oh, thank God. Okay, thanks, guys.
Yes. Yeah. So, well, Andy can describe the show. He'll do a lot better than I would.
Okay, well, at the minute, this has been something of a golden age for Star Trek. We've had, I believe, 5 shows. So there was Star Trek Discovery, which was the first one which came out. And that was followed by Star Trek Picard, which existed. Then there was Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Then there was Star Trek Lower Decks. And then there was Star Trek Prodigy. And Star Trek Picard has just finished. Star Trek Discovery has just been cancelled. And literally yesterday, at the time of recording, they have announced they are cancelling Star Trek Prodigy after the first season had aired, but while the second season's in post-production. And this sucks, because Star Trek Prodigy is awesome. Now, I'll describe it, but bear with me. It was marketed as a kids' show. It was marketed on Nickelodeon. It's CG. But honestly, it was one of the best Star Trek shows that we've had in recent years. It was animated, a lot of heart. It was kind of low-key, a sequel to Star Trek Voyager. It had Kate Mulgrew reprising her role as Captain Janeway, and it was really good. It was massively inclusive. It was accessible to everyone. It was a great introduction to Star Trek. It was awesome. Loved it. It was hugely popular with the fans. There was great engagement between the fans and the writers' room. And Paramount have cancelled it. And not only have they cancelled it, they've deleted it from the streaming services as a tax dodge, because they're cunts.
Holy shit, have they actually done that?
Yep.
Yeah.
What? How does that? Why is that a tax dodge?
It's something that's happening in the US, and I don't fully understand how this works, but it's something we've seen Warner Brothers do, and we've seen Disney do it, and others, where if they remove a show from streaming and don't make it accessible, they're able to write it off against their tax for some reason. It also means they don't have to pay the residuals to the people who worked on it. And people may not realize this, but the writers are actually on strike at the minute due to this very reason. So once again, corporations, dicks, utter dicks. And they cancelled Prodigy, and I'm pissed about it.
I will take one, not say an issue with you. I don't
Only one?
think it's, just the one. No, it's been, I felt the first half of the season was rocky. It was like, so basically, the show is about a group of young-ish group of aliens, all different race, working together on a experimental starship called the Protostar.
Yep.
USS Protostar.
Correct.
Was it USS or
yes,
was it
USS?
No, it's the
NX.
Yes, it's an experiment. Yeah, that's how you know. And they just hijack. In a sense, they do hijack it, and they actually do want to get to Starfleet and become fully fledged Starfleet officers. Within that ship, there's a hologram Janeway, so it's not actually Captain Janeway per se, but there's a holographic version of her training these cadets, shall we say? But the captain. No, fuck is that? The hologram itself.
Use your words, Eddie.
I know words. Use words. The hologram thinks they are cadets and they're there to train, and the aliens and kids are going, yes, we are here to train, yes. Anyway, like Andy said, it had a lot of heart. I did grow to like the show a lot more in the second half of the season, especially. I think the storyline really, really picked up in the second half, and I am pissed it is cancelled, because it felt like it never had a fair share of the crack of the whip to continue on. If you're going to cancel it, end of season 1, just leave it at that. At least people would be pissed, but at least hearing that they were greenlit for a second season, and now, well, are they still to show the second season, or they're just cancelling it and that's it?
Okay, so firstly, it's not just the cancellation; it's the cancellation and then removing it from the streaming service. So whether you like the thing or not, that's kind of besides the point. A lot of people do like it. A lot of people love it. But as you know, physical media isn't really a thing that happens much these days. It's if you think back in the day, I'd probably say 80 to 90% of films and television shows would be available in some form of physical media, be it VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. Now, I think it's probably between 20 and 30% is available. There's entire runs of shows that have never been officially released on physical media, which means when a streaming service decides, actually, we're going to pull this for a tax write-off, you have no legal way to watch that show anymore.
Well, this is why there's a massive rise in piracy, and people, they're like, oh, we don't want people to download it. Well, we can't trust you as consumers anymore. If we like this show and we want to watch this show, then lots of people will turn to piracy because, you're being a dick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. and it's just really, really frustrating. And with Prodigy itself, as Eddie says, they finished animating season 2. It's in post-production, and they've cancelled it. Now, they've said they're going to try and ship it around to another network or another show, which is, that's fine. But the fact they've announced they've cancelled it, the fact they've announced they're removing it from their streaming services, on the back of what was arguably one of the best episodes of Star Trek in recent years that we had with Strange New Worlds, which is another show everyone should watch. But it's still, it's just such a dick move on the part of the Paramount. But it's not just Paramount. We saw this with Warner Brothers with what they did to Batgirl.
I was about to bring that up. I was going to bring that up.
Where they've scrubbed that, and it's just the reality of the streaming model now is there's too much power in the hands of too few companies where they can pull shit like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am slightly curious about the Batgirl film. I would love to at least in a trailer. Because what was it? We just seen the trailer for is it the Marvel film Sony's Craven?
Oh, I know it's out. I haven't seen it.
Oh no, but the pronunciation.
It's Craven's the name of it.
Yeah. It looks dog shit bad, and I mean not in an ironic way. It just looks shit. At least Sony going out of their way to go, yeah, let's give it a try. Let's. They've had Morbius, and they went, oh god, that's bad.
Well, in an effort to get cancelled on your podcast, one of the reasons they announced they were cancelling Batgirl and deleting it and not making it available is they said it was a terrible film. They watched it, but the guy who's running it, David Zaslav, said he'd watched it and it just was unsalvageable. It was a terrible film. It would have hurt the brand. He then went on to say that The Flash is the greatest comic book movie of all time. And I'm just going to say, I think the box office might tell us a little bit about his opinions when it comes to films.
Jesus Christ.
What? Yeah, there's a lot of decisions made by studios that I really don't understand what's going on. I think I saw a headline that said Warner Bros. Are willing to sell off part of their portfolio, which includes the DC rights to it, which I'm not saying I want it to happen because we don't know if it's going to go to it in better hands or not. So I'm not saying the better the devil but at least I would like to go to a studio that would actually honor the DC brand, because DC do have good characters within their... Sorry, I know we switched from Star Trek to DC, but they've got some good stories, good characters there, and it just seems like they're doing it so badly with trying to compete with Marvel. And I'm not saying they shouldn't compete with Marvel with the way they did it, but the way that Marvel did it, no one else has done it. They had the good graces to do what they did by building up a 20-film saga to really bring it all together. And DC are trying to rush that. And anyway, going back to Star Trek, I literally wrote this on my Facebook wall today. What's it called? I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation of it.
Per Ada ad Astra.
That's the one. That episode is about. The synopsis is basically one of the officers is being not even it's not court-martialed though, is it?
It is a court-martial.
Basically, they've been. It's court-martial because they've been charged of being genetically modified, and it's against Starfleet Federation law and things like that. The whole episode was played so well about literally holding a mirror to society within the show's dynamics, but it's also in real life as well. And I'll let you watch that show to understand what that meaning is, because I think once you see that meaning, it will it's quite powerful. But yeah, it's just like you said, Andy, off the back of that episode, for me, I said that may be now my favorite episode of all Star Trek, beating into the pale moonlight.
In the pale moonlight.
I'm looking forward to seeing this now.
It's a great episode, but it's doing what Star Trek's always done best, which is take current day events and realities and kind of through a sci-fi lens, pointing it back at yourselves. So very famously in the original series, there's an episode where you have I believe it's called "Let That Be Your Last Battlefield," where they encounter an alien race where everyone has one half of their face white, one half of their face black. and it's alternated. And look, it's not the best episode, but the message they're trying to tell in there was very powerful at the time in the 1960s. And this is the same because it's talking about rights, it's talking about your heritage, it's talking about trans rights, it's talking about racial equality. It's doing that through the sci-fi lens, and I think that's what's really powerful there. And look, the cast on Strange New Worlds is amongst the best in Star Trek. I mean, this is up there with, I remember when the JJ films came out back in 2009, everyone was saying, there was an Onion article saying Star Trek fans decry the new films because it's not a boring courtroom drama. And look, there's something to be said to that. But one of the things Star Trek does really well is it does a really good courtroom drama. This was.
I will not hear anything against those films, though. They're great.
2 of them are great.
That's fine.
2 of them are great.
Yes.
I like it.
Is that what? Is one of them Beyond?
No. Into Darkness and the 2009 are great. Beyond.
Okay, Charlotte, we phoned down now. We've been phoned down.
I was going to say because Beyond is like, for me, that's. We'll get back onto normal schedule in a minute, but
this is Beyond, there is no schedule.
Beyond, true, that is absolutely true as well. But Star Trek Beyond, for me, it felt like such a really traditional Star Trek storyline.
Beyond is great. Beyond is legitimately one of the best. I think they're all great.
With hindsight, I'd say Beyond is better with Into Darkness, but the amount I loved Into Darkness when I watched it in the cinema, like the amount of emotions and like as a Trekkie, it has to just stay like it was so good.
I would love to get you on the Derelict to talk about Into Darkness because it's its 10-year anniversary.
Oh my god, that was 10 years ago.
I haven't watched it since 2013, and I keep meaning to go back and do that. So if you're up for it,
let's do a rewatch. Then we'll do
Hang on, are you hiring people within my podcast?
No, because I'm not paying her to be on the podcast. I've hired her separately after appearing on your podcast. But this is not
saying it like that because now I've sounded like a prostitute.
Do you remember how you said this last time, Charlotte? That you said, "Oh, I spent the weekend with Andy in Paris."
I did say it by accident, but
Well, you say it's an accident, but we were in Paris together.
Yeah, no, that being in Paris wasn't the accident. No, it was good. But yeah, we should rewatch it and then chat with the benefit of being 10 years older. Apparently,
yeah,
disgusting.
As I crumble to dust.
What you were saying earlier, I love that Star Trek is so relevant. And it's so good. Like, I feel like it's much more human than Star Wars because they, like, even from the beginning, they don't bother to sit there and spoon feed you like, oh, here's why an alien's here, and here's why someone with cybernetics is here. They're just like, look, this is the crew, take it or leave it. And I love that, and I think it was refreshing. Whereas in Star Wars, they do kind of try and over-explain the politics and why the people are the people. You're like, no. Let the story be the story, and the people are just in it. And I think they also had like the first interracial kiss on TV, if I'm correct.
Oh yeah.
Interesting side note there is that kiss takes place between Kirk and Uhura.
Yeah.
But it wasn't originally meant to be between Kirk and Uhura. I believe it was meant to be between Spock and Uhura. And Shatner was like, no. If anyone's having the first interracial kiss on TV, it'd be me.
It should be Kirk and Spock, like I'm just saying, but moving on.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to move on, but I want to say one thing to Andy, and I'm hoping I'll get a good answer out of him. Do you think New Trek is a bit too woke?
Of course not.
Is Star Trek itself too woke?
No.
I hate when people say, Star Trek's so woke right now. I'm saying, it's always been woke. And I hate when people use the word woke, because to me, woke is... I understand there is a definition out there, but let's also break it down even a little bit further. What it means is it's trying to be better. If you're using the word woke as in the term of, you don't want to be better, fine, don't be better.
The thing about Star Trek Star Trek's 60 years old. Yes, it's even older than me. I know, I'm shocked too. But Star Trek is trying to suggest and allude to a better future. And it is trying to show that, we can be better, we can have a utopia. But it is also, and it will always be, a product of its time. So Star Trek in the 60s, the stuff in the in the pilot episode of Star Trek The Cage, at one point, Captain Pike, as played by Jeffrey Hunter at the time, turns to his doctor and says, I just can't get used to having a woman on the bridge. That is a line in the first episode of Star Trek. Because they were pushing the boundaries by showing a woman on the bridge of effectively a military vessel at the time, which was, just not a thing. But, now when we look back at that, that's a little cringeworthy, especially now we're having news stories with Pike, played by the amazing Anson Mount and his amazing hair. But I digress.
Yes.
And then you get into the 1980s as well. And, they try and do stories dealing with things like gay rights and everything like this. And there's missteps, and they did one on the AIDS epidemic. It didn't work. You get into Deep Space Nine, and they have, I think it's the first kiss between two women. Is on Deep Space Nine.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot that it does right, but we can never lose sight of the fact that as much as Star Trek is always going to try and push the boundaries, and it has always been, to quote you, woke, it is always going to also be a product of its time. And therefore, when we look back at it, at some point, we're going to look back at Discovery and probably say, oh, it's a bit dodgy that this was included in there, isn't it? Or that's a bit, hey, it's just the way life goes on.
I would love to say that for the people that are like, stuff's too woke or this isn't for me, the point is it's not for you. If you think that something's not relevant, it probably wasn't written for you. Like when I watched Discovery season 1, in the first episode, there's like a scientist and a doctor, and they're both men, and all you see to indicate that they're together is you just see them brushing their teeth together in a mirror like you would a straight couple, and then at one point, they're holding hands like a straight couple would, and then they give each other a quick peck on the cheek because they're going off to work, like you would film a straight couple. And I genuinely paused it and cried for a bit because I was like, as a bi woman, that's the representation that I want. I don't want you to shove it down my throat that someone's gay, because that's stupid and awkward. I want to see in like TV and film just couples represented how couples always have been, and you always get that cliche of couples brushing their teeth in every rom-com going back forever. So to see them take like a gay couple and just literally have them as a couple, they're not a gay couple, they're just a couple, was like so important. And in that moment you feel so seen as like a community that it's like, we are just people, and it's not a plot point at all. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, there's a great line. I think this is from Gene Roddenberry. He says, humanity will be able to achieve utopia and reach the stars, not when it can ignore the differences between us, when it can celebrate them. And that's kind of like what the core of it should be. It's not about tolerating or not seeing them. It's about celebrating the differences and saying, yeah, it's fantastic that everyone is from different races, different creeds, different colours, different sexualities. And that's what Star Trek at its best is trying to do. Then there's, missteps like Into Darkness. But, on the whole, it's generally been... I kid. Or do I? I don't know.
In Star Trek is that they've got a ginger in Discovery. I stand by that. I'm joking. She's great. I want to cosplay her.
You're talking about Tilly, yeah?
Yeah, I love Tilly.
Okay, yeah.
I really want to do like an evil Tilly, but I can't cut my hair like that, so I might just do normal Tilly.
Oh, you mean Captain Killy? Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's so cool.
If we're sharing inappropriate memes, I'll have to send you one later as well.
Oh, please.
Oh god, no! I am like rediscovering Discovery again. It is better than I remember.
I got to say, yeah, Lorca. I miss Lorca.
Yeah.
Oh god. On that note, I'm going to move on the conversation. Charlotte, hello. Is there something on you? Hello. Is there something that you would like to share amongst us people?
Well, you might be two quite good people just to chat about, because I think we'll all have relatively different answers, which I'm interested in. So over the last I'd say probably half a year, I've been. People have probably noticed I've been feeling rather uninspired when it comes to editing, con pictures and just pictures generally, which is weird because I love editing, but I haven't had that kind of spark of, oh, I've got a really good idea. And then this con just gone, I took a day to not cosplay and I just did photography, and the photo edits I've done from that, I will say, are some of my best. And other people have enjoyed them too, which is good. So it just got me thinking, what stuff inspires me to do to sit down and edit and to do photos. And I started planning, and I'm in my head, and already just thinking about that, I want to do photos based on one song or one film. And Into the Spider-Verse I watched recently before I watched the next one. My God, do I want to do photos inspired by that? So I was just curious to see what you guys tend to do to get into the editing mood, because I don't think people understand if you're feeling depressed and negative and shit, you cannot edit good photos necessarily.
Charlotte, remind me, you and me, I've got plans for a Spideyverse shoot, but we'll talk this up in the green room later.
We'll talk about it later. I'm going to order my MJ suit next month.
I said with the. Oh no, you haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse. I can't say anything. Damn it. Anyway.
Oh wait, is she in it?
I can't say anything. So.
Oh, I just want them to give her a suit for the gingers.
No, I know what you mean about like sometimes being bored with cosplay photography. I think this is why I started my other brand a few years back. I mentioned on this podcast many times, I have another brand called HKC, phonetically spelled AITCHKAYCEE. And that's based, it's meant to be photography for everything else. But it just feels like it's just turned into a fetish site, which is nothing wrong with that. As Andy would say, we're kink-clusive, not and
That's great.
Kink shaming. Yes, I know. What's that? Zandy's word? What is it? Your word?
Yeah, it's my word. We're kink-clusive here. We don't kink shame.
Yeah.
I mean, we kink shame you, but that's just because it's fun.
Oh, god damn it!
Hey, pardon.
Oh.
Feel ashamed.
But no, I did that because I think I was starting to get a little bored of cosplay photography, but not bored as in I don't want to be doing it. It just felt like I think you were alluding to like not being inspired by it.
I think this is going to be so controversial. I'm not bored of cosplay photography. I'm bored of cosplayers' attitudes.
So keeping this in.
Please let me explain.
No, we're gonna cut it there.
Oh my god, don't. Especially my friends are in this group, and it's through no fault of their own, really. But I think that at UK cons, a lot of the cosplayers are spoiled now. When I joined, I would say every 4 years there was like a big turnover of photographers. Like people I knew back then have gone, but the core group that are here now, I think, have been there for a lot longer than usual, and because of this, everyone knows exactly what they're doing, how they're shooting, how to pose people, and the cosplayers are getting really good shoots really quickly. But when I propose to people, I've got some ideas for bigger shoots. So when I say book in a shoot day, like even with my friends, like, I want to use lights, I want to actually have a mood board, like aim for a shot. They're like, yeah, no, we'll get a shot. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's not fun for me getting you a couple of excellent shots in 10 minutes, which we can do. We know that. I want to do the bigger shoots with the lights, with the assistants and the fog and stuff. But a lot of cosplayers I propose it to are just fine with like the average stuff. I find it really odd because I get really inspired by something and then I'm struggling to bring people along on the idea of like, let's put work in, because I think it's turned so much down to, but how can I get the most content as fast as possible, not how can I take a genuinely fucking good picture.
Oh, 100%. The amount of times I've said to people, let's do a location shoot. Let's get away from doing from Comic-Con stuff, from the obvious Excel background and all that. Let's get away from all of that. And yeah, we'll do that. Drop messages that, I can't do this and I can't do that. Can't afford this. Can't pay your rates. I said, this is just a collaborative idea. We're just doing it together. This is a TFP shoot. We're fine. We don't have to make a real big thing out of it. No, I can't do it. Oh, for fuck's sake. And then
it's even just little things where I'm like, just give me a shout if you're free in the evening and like, I'll bring my light down. And then they're like, yeah. And then we're shooting and they're like, I've got 5 minutes. And I'm like, look, if you'd had 20 minutes, this could have been like the photo that you love. But I think people are so used to just working with people they're comfortable with. And it's through no fault of their own because we can get good pictures with people that fast.
Yeah.
But it's not fun when I'm relying, like I'm falling back on stuff I know really well, but it means I don't get the chance to like play around and push myself and suddenly be like, oh my god, I can do this. And I've done a few photos last con where I made people be there like for longer and go to different locations, and those are the pictures where like the Iron Man one I did and the one with Bella Pritchard, who, and full credit to Bella, is fully on board whenever I give her ideas at con and will give me the time. So if anyone's like, why is Bella going to get 45 photos back from con? Because she spent half an hour with me. So like, it's just, I feel like people need to start managing their expectations and like being like, oh, I want a quick picture, but what does the photographer want? And this isn't everyone, but it's enough people now that I'm having to like fight to be creative, which is a very odd feeling.
Bella's getting 45 photos.
About that from me. We took so many poses that like I told her that there was a specific patch of light there's one patch of light coming through the trees, and I told her where it was, and she found it in every single picture. Like, even when she moved, she went back and she was like, "Oh, the light's here, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was so impressed with her like attention to detail. And I just thought more cosplayers just had that attention on that shoot for that long, then, or even just like 10 minutes. But the focus she had, it was like just me, and she was saying, "Can I do this? Will it be in shot? Can I do this if you go lower?" Like, we were working together.
Yeah.
And just from that one shoot, I was like, I want to do more of this, because this is how it should be. And her photos are bloody good. And like, yeah. So I think going forward, I'm going to be a lot stricter and be like, if you want to shoot with me, I want you to be 100% involved, not talking to your friend, not about to film a TikTok. Like, you have to be in that shoot space with me, or you're wasting my time. Just respect.
No, that's fine. I think that's very ideal respect that you want. I just know you're not going to get that from everyone.
Not from everyone, but I think it's the people I've been shooting for longer that are getting slightly lazy.
Yeah, no.
And again, I just want to say, like, overall, everyone's great. It's the people that they propose bigger shoots, but then they still think I can do it within the short time frame. And they don't understand, because they're comfortable, that actually, like, I would like some more time.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's very hard for me to yeah. Andy, what do you think?
Do we want some controversial takes here?
But what I've just called all cosplayers arseholes. I think someone else better step up.
Okay.
I love
this is something that's come up several times on this podcast, because yes, I do listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I know. I say you do.
Yeah.
The topic of charging for photography. Yeah. And Eddie has many times decried the fact that some people try to charge for taking pictures at Comic Cons and so forth.
Yeah.
And the general consensus is always that this is outrageous, this is wrong, you shouldn't do this, etc., etc., etc. I put it to you, sir. I put it to you.
Yeah.
But you're wrong. I put it to you that by not charging for photography, for cosplay photography, it creates a sense that it is valueless. And in sending that sense that it is valueless, it means people do not pay it the same respect or give it the same weight that they would do in, say, a fashion shoot or an external shoot there. And look, nothing is going to change, because this is a precedent that's been going on for years and years and years, and it's fine. But I have been a professional photographer for over a decade at this point. And by that, I'm not saying I'm a good photographer. What I'm saying is I charge money and get paid to take pictures. And one thing I learned quite early on in my career when I was doing this is when I started charging and putting value to the work I was doing, more people would hire me and do this because they saw value in what I was doing. When you're trying to get started, when you're trying to set up and you go to people, you go, "Oh, I'll do you some freebie or something like this, or I'll do something." They just to get your foot in the door, as we all try to do. People might take you up on it, but then there's no value assigned to it. But when I started charging for my work, when I started saying, "Okay, I can come and do this for you, but it's going to cost you X, Y, and Z to do it," at that point, more and more people would hire me because they saw value. And when they're delivered with photos, they see value to it. And I think at its core, that's kind of the issue Charlotte's coming up against here, is there's a perception that her time has no value. I'm not saying that at all. As Charlotte knows, I have hired her. I see that there's value in her time and her work. But there is definitely a sense with cosplayers, just in general, and this is just the nature of it, if Charlotte was to charge, well, Eddie's not going to charge, so I'm just going to take my pictures with Eddie.
Yeah.
And that is, at its core, what it is. And I think the problem that a lot of cosplay photographers have is because they occupy this space. There's some really, really talented cosplay photographers out there who honestly are way more talented than I am, but they will never get the kind of work I do, the paid sort of work, because people see that they do cosplay photography and it's equated with having no value, rightly or wrongly. That is just the perception that's going on there.
Yeah.
Can I quickly butt in? I just want to write a reply. The only reason I keep saying we're not charging at Comic-Con is because the rules. It's only the rules. If the rules were taken away that said we can start charging, I'll be fucking up. I'd be right up there charging people.
£50 a shoot.
Yeah, £50 a shoot.
Minimum.
Minimum.
Oh, yeah. And that's just one photo.
That's just one photo, unedited. Damn right.
Yeah.
And no, that's the only reason I stick to the guns of no charging at Comic-Con, because there's rules behind it. Because once.
Well, and look, can I right to reply to your right to reply?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can absolutely charge at MCM for taking pictures if you want to. The difference is, though, you have to get permission from MCM to charge.
Yes.
That's what it boils down to. MCM said, "Oh, you want to charge? Well, we got to wet our beak." That's what it boils down to. There's not a moral incentive behind MCM's ban on charging. They're just saying you can't charge without paying them a kickback. That's what it comes down to. I have gone and done studio shoots and photo shoots in my cosplay. I am very much of the opinion that if I get one good photo out of a shoot, I'm happy. I think that's another thing. I would rather spend an entire day with a photographer and get one amazing photo than spend a day and get 4 or 5 dozen okay-ish ones. I will happily spend the time to just get that one perfect photo, and that's another. Have you guys seen my Sandman cosplay I did?
Yeah.
I only have one photo of that cosplay because I spent the entire day just getting that one photo. And when I got that one photo, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm good. I'm done. And we spent probably 2-3 hours just to get that one photo just right. And that's all I wanted. I wanted to get the one good photo out of that. I see sometimes I've gone into schools and given lectures and all this to, budding photographers and all this. People often say to you, what's the secret to becoming a good photographer? And it's very simple. The secret to becoming a good photographer is don't show people your bad photos. If you take 100 photos and out of those 100 photos, you get 5 good ones, only show the 5 good ones. And I think the same applies with cosplay photography. Focus on just giving everyone one really good photo and you will get and build a reputation as being a great cosplay photographer because you've given them one really good photo.
Yeah.
And when they start equating quality over quantity, that's when you... quantity over quality, sorry. That's when you kind of come into this problem where, well, I want a dozen photos out of our 30 minutes of free time together. And that's one of the reasons why I never got into cosplay photography, though, because I ain't dealing with all that shit.
Fair enough.
You chose wisely.
You did choose wisely. And I just want to say, really good examples of people that give back very, 1 or 2 photos maximum and, also not promptly, but as some of the best people I've seen. Jamie Flack, his work is... It's funny because you see the before and afters of his photos and he does graphic arts. He does a lot of, painting, I'd say more than retouching. But his photos are stunning. And you get one back from him, and it's the only one you ever want to look at ever again. And then Alexandra Lee Studios, who's an American photographer, and her stuff is amazing. She does all this composite work. I think she takes a background with her because you're allowed to at these bigger cons. If you watch her work on Twitch or something, it's one photo. It takes her a while, but oh my god, would it be worth paying her 50 quid for it because it's the best photo of that cosplay you're going to take. So I've always considered cons a practice for shooting, for using new gear, working with models. And I'm really lucky now that I've got to the point where I'm actually really happy with all the gear I've got and with the people I've worked with, which means the next step for me to make it worth shooting at cons is pushing myself to get better pictures and really thinking about the tiny details. And if that means taking fewer pictures and working more selectively with people, then that's what's going to happen. But it's kind of sad that photographers getting the practice in has translated to this, more photos equals better. I don't get it. It's just, ugh.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I'm happy with the ones I took at the most recent con because I took the time to think about them. And I'm happy about that because I've realised what I want to do.
I think it also just literally popped to my head. I think it also doesn't help that there are hundreds of photographers there, and if one person refused, it's not like they go, "Oh, that's ruined my day." If one photographer said no to me, because they'll know they'll find another photographer to take their photo for free as well.
Yeah.
So it's I think that's another aspect of why value of a photographer.
Definitely the social aspect comes in.
Yeah. That's that's why I try to do something different. I try to be a bit more zany, a bit more chatty, and find out what about their cosplays.
I will say to cosplayers out there, if you look at the people you really admire, like Yaya Han, the biggest people that you like, or the most creative and polished people that you like, when you look at their pages, you will see when you scroll down, they will have very few duplicate pictures from shoots, but they'll have a larger number of shoots that are quite unique, and that is what makes their pages look so kind of expensive and professional, because all of their costumes are good, but they've just taken out little snippets of the best of each. So obviously this isn't feasible while you're learning, but just bearing in mind swapping out backgrounds, trying new things, completely different vibes for each photo will help you expand your portfolio rather than 10 taken against the same wall or water or whatever. Because when you share all those, they all look quite the same. So if you're looking to be better, it is worth saying to your photographer, if you're working with them, can we try 2 or 3 different backgrounds? Because then that's 2 or 3 completely different photos right there. So it's worth spending the time.
Oh, 100%. I think people know how I work, which I don't know if I should do a podcast about how I do MCM. Maybe do it just if I ever go to October event, literally do a podcast about how I plan my day out and how people think how that works and all that. But I think this is a longer story, a bigger subject, which I probably should have. Charlotte, do you want to come back and do a proper full podcast on this? And
yeah,
I was going to say bring Andy on this, but actually no.
Yeah, I think it's really important to talk about properly, even though you don't want to offend people, but if you're offended by anything we say as photographers, then it's probably a good indication that you'll just cross that. You're not going to get as many free pictures.
The only reason I'm not, because I don't want more chaos about you two talking about planes.
No, it's
we can talk
fine.
about planes together, Eddie. It's all right.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to talk about planes at all, ever.
To anyone listening, by the way, because obviously Andy did say he hired me, other people can also hire me. I'm available for hire.
Yeah,
please hire
you should
me.
hire
but
her.
Also, if you want to talk to us about planes, more than down.
Yeah,
that's your one per podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but I did it quite well.
You did.
Thank you.
Also, just to be clear, I've hired Eddie as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you've hired me.
He's an equality.
Yeah. You hire me about twice a year.
Whoa, hang on.
Yeah.
I don't take him to Paris though, Charlotte. It's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say,
okay.
He only takes me to the Savoy. He takes you to Paris.
Ah, Savoy, very fancy.
I know, right?
Yeah, lovely ballroom there. Take him to dinner.
Yes.
Please tell me you guys danced in the ballroom, because if you didn't, you missed a trick.
We did not, because there's tables everywhere, but maybe next time.
Yeah, next time.
What do you mean next time? No, there won't be us dance. Anyway, I'm just going to move it along. I'm going to move it along, and this is going to be my little topic. This was brought up by someone else in a different podcast, and it's making me think recently how I think I'm starting to get this way, and I don't know if it's because the thought was planted in my head by those guests, and it's about being left behind by the cosplay community. I think I do my best, try to keep up with all the fads and talking all the youngster talk, be on the TikTok and all that. But the one thing they kept saying was that, my friends have moved on. They've got, they either got a career out of it, or they've got a family now and things like that. And I'm like going, oh wow, am I being left behind it, or am I wrong still doing what I do? Because it is a hobby and it's what I enjoy, and I will never decree that it's not. And like I said, I do enjoy what I do, but sometimes I think, mate, am I, some of my friends have moved on, and I'm going, oh, am I being left behind here or something, or am I missing something here, or something, and don't get me wrong, I do feel like I'm making new friends when I'm in the cosplay community, and I don't feel that I'm that left out per se, but I'm just getting that small inkling about how the cosplay community has changed over the years. Because I think in that podcast we're talking about how, the way that cosplay fashion has changed, has gone from making your own cosplay to now you can just buy it online now, and things like that. And
I think the stakes are higher too.
Yeah. Do you want to expand on that idea? What do you mean by the stakes are high?
And I've noticed this a lot with people I know, because we've all been doing it maybe 6 or 7, 8 plus years now, is that since TikTok, very specifically, I'm going to say TikTok and lockdown, the amount of companies that have realised that they can just market directly through basically micro-influencers, i.e. TikTokers who are cosplayers who are in a very niche community, but they can target directly. So they don't need as many followers as you once would have done. Means that now, even from being a smaller cosplayer, you can grow incredibly quickly on social media and get opportunities you never would have done before. So premieres are now on the table for a lot of people, because they're just picking people from Instagram that are doing the right cosplays.
We have thoughts on those. We have thought.
See, I've been to one, but I got invited by a friend. being sent free stuff by smaller brands is on the table. So like just generally, whereas before, and this is what I always try and keep to, even though I'm lucky enough now to be in a position where people do offer me things, cosplay for me is still, do I love this character? Do I want to be this character? Are they ginger because I don't want to wear a wig? Like, do I want to cosplay them because they make me happy? Which is why I've got comparatively very few cosplays to a lot of people. But now a lot more people can do it and basically get straight to the stakes of I'm being offered free stuff and I'm going to get popular. And that's what the stakes are like higher for. You can cosplay and get stuff out of it, but in my opinion, that should be a bonus and not the reason you do it. And I think that's where people are going wrong, because I'm really lucky that people have offered me stuff and it's purely random and it's not because I've like gone out there and asked for it. But I still refuse to cosplay for character like Poison Ivy. I get asked to a lot. I don't want to do her because I don't know her. So you got to stay true to you. But also, there are more options. I don't know if I made any sense.
No, I don't think that's another aspect of why I feel like I'm like being left behind, because I feel like you said, the opportunity now that cosplay has now presented itself to the general public. It is more accessible, and it doesn't feel like it stops at Comic-Con. You can go from being a general public, seeing cosplay, being in cosplay, and then go further. Like you said, becoming an influencer for like either wearing the cosplays, building cosplays, going to premieres or...
A lot of the people that grew very fast on TikTok over lockdown, those are the people that newer cosplayers would look at and say, oh, they must have been doing it for years. But the reality is a lot of them have only been doing it for a year or two. But when I started cosplaying, there wasn't really the option to like buy. If you wanted to make it or be a character, you had to do it yourself. And that's really just kind of gone now.
This has actually brought me into an idea that I was going to record a podcast, which I don't know if I'm going to invite either of you two or whoever, but I'm going to do a podcast called Have We Ruined Cosplay? So that'll be quite interesting how that chat goes with two people and see if people like cancel me then from that podcast.
As Andy said, Eddie specifically has ruined cosplay.
Yeah, just Eddie. No one else.
It's just Eddie.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for your support and all that. But yeah, that's just no. But I mean, the other aspect about being left behind is that, like I said, I know people who I used to like see at Comic-Con are not up there anymore because they've started a family. And as some or most people that know me, I'm a single man. I'm in London, and sometimes it can be a bit isolating. And yeah, I just feel a bit. I don't know if I've made a mistake in a sense of still pushing this food and cosplay business there. Don't get me wrong, I'm not quit. This is not a cry for help. I'm not trying to bait people to say, oh, I'm going to quit cosplay. No, I'm not doing that. But it's maybe kind of like I might have to reprioritize myself. Like, I do need to let go of some of the stuff I do on food and cosplay. Like, I might do less article stuff on the website. I might not do podcasting as much, things like that. So, yeah, it's things like that that's just started creeping to my mind, really, about how the cosplay community has changed over the years and how people have moved on and the new set of people that are coming in. And don't get me wrong, I love the new people that are coming through. I've met some really nice, fun people to chat to, and I've got them to like be on the podcast and things like that. But I get what Charlotte's mean about some like really... I'll use this word, not saying Charlotte uses it. I've met some possessive people that have been really like a bit too... who have got such high standards already and go, whoa, I didn't realise. Okay, all right then, all right, okay, I'll have to remember that for next time.
I think everyone just needs to be kinder to each other and more thoughtful.
Oh, that ruins what I was about to say next.
Oh, mate, I'll take it back. Edit that out. Carry on.
Well, this will sound mean, and I do not mean it to sound mean, but Eddie was talking about how he feels he's been left behind and doesn't get with the kids and all that, yeah?
Yeah.
Eddie, and I can say this because I think I'm older than you.
You are.
It's because you're old, mate.
Oh, no!
I'm not the food and podcast.
I'm just saying, look, and I find this myself sometimes, look, I am... of an age where I'm still going to these events and still cosplaying and everything, and I enjoy it. It's my hobby and it's tons and tons of fun and all that. Plus, I have a disposable income to be able to afford to do it. There's your first hint, boys and girls, the fact I have disposable income and can afford to do this. Should tell you everything you need to know there.
Photographer, please tell us more.
yeah, like I said, I don't do cosplay photography. That's how I can afford this. But
yeah,
it's there's a generation gap. I mean, that's the thing, you know. You're of a generation. There's an entire other generation, and the reason we kind of divide into generations is because we have different lived experiences growing up. We speak different languages. We grew up with different shows, and you don't necessarily have experienced those. You might have seen some of the shows, but you didn't experience them at the age that they did, and so you don't have that kind of built-in firmware, as it were, and that might be why you have that disconnect. It might just be that a lot of the people coming in now, you go in there, they're literally speaking a different language to you now.
Yeah, I do. No, this does actually happen to me. There are times I forget that I am old. Generally, there are times I just go. I like talk to someone and I walk away and going, "Oh God, they're just in their 20s, aren't they? They're probably just got into their 20s or probably in their teens." I'm like double their age. Oh God!
I do feel like I should hide in the corner for this bit of the podcast.
Like, yeah, Charlotte. Like the way I talk to you, Charlotte. It's not like I talk to you that I'm an old man, do I? I talk to you like I'm probably at your level. If that makes sense.
I did not realise that you were much older than me. By the way, till maybe this year when you were like, "Oh, it's my birthday." I was like, "Fucking sorry."
Yeah, I'm old. I'm an old. As Andy said, I am old. I'm old.
You just call this podcast "I'm old."
Yeah, that's cool. I'm just unscripted in brackets. I'm old. Yeah, let's do that.
I think some of it's generational thing, and I will say, and I've said it before, I am incredibly lucky that I am young and a woman. It's such an advantage at the moment because I'm the same age as all the cosplayers. I am a cosplayer. There is a massive advantage there you cannot deny in shooting.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Yeah, you got your whole life ahead of you. You wait 20, 30 years from now, when you start your podcast, you'll be in this position where I am, and you're going to, I remember that old man. Yeah, he's like dead now. But yeah.
No, you can't die before me. We're going together, right?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Yeah,
you know what you should do?
What should I do? Go on.
Right before you die, you need to edit together all of the clips of the bits where you've paused this or cut them out.
Yeah.
And like right before you go, just release it. So we'll all go together and then everyone will read them and go, God, they were arseholes. That's the legacy.
What total arseholes? Yeah.
You said what about who?
And what he can have on his gravesite is cancel me now, bitch.
Yeah. F-16s weren't some of the coolest planes? How dare you?
Yes.
I'm saying absolutely nothing. Jesus Christ.
Old Eddie.
I am so old. It's unbelievable.
You're not that old, Eddie.
No. I'm not old. No, because there are like Andy. He still cosplays in his hang on. This is a compliment. It's a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
He's still cosplaying in his in advanced years. Can I say that?
Keep digging. Charlotte, I've got a job coming up in November if you're interested.
Oh, that sounds wonderful, actually. I'm free.
Oh, is it? Good to know, yeah.
But there are like elder statesman photographers out there who like still doing it. And they seem to be enjoying it. So it just got me thinking, and
I think it's a massive mix of factors, but I do think the post-lockdown thing has actually sped up what was gradual, because instead of not seeing each other for 6 months, everyone hadn't seen each other for 2-3 years, and that's made any gap in like skill or photography or cosplay more apparent. Because you're not the only person I've heard say this. It's been like an ongoing conversation since COVID.
Yeah. No, that's good. This is not just me, and yeah. I'm now editing your photo, Charlotte, if that helps.
Oh, which one?
Yeah, the only ones I did. The Doctor Strange, yeah.
Those really cool.
Good.
That was a fast shoot. Those looked sick. And this is one of those things where you're like, you can shoot fast if you are fucking used to knowing each other.
Yeah. That's a future podcast I'm recording, I think. Hang on, am I? No, that's it. Yes, right. Yes. I'm recording a future podcast. I'm doing another Am I Wrong podcast, which will be. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Oh, yeah.
No, we've just done it for you.
No, Justin. I'll tell you in the green room what my controversial thoughts about that. But anyway, I think I'm going to have to end this podcast because I think we're just rabbiting on way too much.
We're rambling like old people.
We are rambling about old people, but we're going to do a podcast extra. I hope my guest. I have time for a quick podcast extra. We'll just keep rambling. We'll talk about planes. That's it. If you want to hear about planes, Charlotte and Andy will talk about that. No, generally we will talk about cosplay or something like that. But on that note, thank you very much for talking and just getting your feelings out and whatnot. Charlotte, no, actually, I'll let you find out your Twitter whilst I ask you.
Immediately started typing.
Yeah, start typing. Andy, if they want to find you on the social medias, where can they find you on the social medias?
Andy Free, most places. Podcast is called The Great Derelict, where I talk about science fiction. I do a podcast called Grand Prix Podcast, where me and my friend Elton talk about Formula One. And Elton has some original ideas which are in no way appropriated by hosts of this podcast.
God damn it!
And yeah, look, you can find us on all those places and stuff. I do cosplay, but as established, I don't really have a following, and I don't really post a huge amount there. So, don't worry about it.
No, but your Great Derelict ones are quite good. I've listened to a good selection of them. I think.
Have you listened to the one you're on yet?
No, still I haven't listened to that one. I haven't still listened to the Ghost in the Shell one. I refuse to listen to that one. Okay. No matter what you do, what you say, I'll never listen to that podcast. That to me will haunt me to the day I die. So yeah, I actually forgot about that one.
If you want to know what haunts Eddie, go to The Great Derelict and listen to the podcast where we talk about Ghost in the Shell.
Go listen to that one. Yeah. Just never tell me what I said, how I sounded, and how shit I was. Just lie to me and just say it was good. That's all I need to hear. I won't believe you, but at least that's what I'll take to my grave. Charlotte, have you had time yet, or do you want me to keep rambling?
No, I found it, but I've also found a great video of the Red Arrows doing a spiral over the sea. Okay, hello.
Hello, Charlotte. Charlotte, where can they find you on the social medias?
You can find me at the Red Arrows Official. I'm joking. That's not that thing. So on Twitter, I am CX Woolrych Photo, and everywhere else, I am Charlotte Woolrych _photography or Charlotte Woolrych _cosplay. Woolrych is spelled WOOLRYCH, or you can find my portfolio at www.charlottewoolrichphotography.com. That should be updated soon to be all shiny and new, so that'll be fun. And then you can find me on Eddie's podcast as well.
Yes. Yeah. I've actually just found out two guests I've had previously to this podcast are starting a podcast themselves. I should give them a shout out. Let me do a shout out. So I think they call it Control Alt Cosplay is their new podcast. So relative to this podcast going out, it's going to come out on the 1st of July. So this coming Saturday. So yeah, go listen to that. I don't know what's it going to be out. I was going to have them on this podcast, but timing and all that, so I couldn't do any of that. But yes, go listen when it goes out. It's got Lydia from Cellaramine Cosplay and Siobhan from Shield Photography.
Oh, I love Shield.
Yes, they're both good. They're both good. I can't wait for the mayhem that's going to.
What was that called? Sorry, I want to write it down.
Like the Control buttons on the keyboard.
No,
that spelling.
What was it? Right, Control Cosplay. Thanks.
Yeah, Control Cosplay. Yeah. Anyway, to find me on the social medias, just in case you're not following me on the social medias, if you go to foodandcosplay.org/links, you'll find all my social media links there. If you go to foodandcosplay.org, generally you'll find cosplay photos and some articles that are there. Again, I'm going to rein that in a little bit. And if you go to foodandcosplay.org/podcast, you'll find previous recorded podcasts that I've recorded. And if you go to patreon.com/foodandcosplay, you're going to hear me, Charlotte, and Andy, if you donate £2, talking about something on the podcast section, plus other podcast extras, which I'm doing fairly weekly now. Yes, I should actually give props to Charlotte. They're now called Ed Still Talks About.
Oh, they actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't. Yeah. So I will say that in the title, in the audio podcast, but I just call it podcast extra.
Shouldn't it be Ed Won't Shut Up Now?
Yeah, something like that. No, because that sounds like I will never shut up. I do shut up.
Ed's still talking about.
Okay. Yeah, that's a better one. And on that note, I'm going to end the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, before you end, I got a question. Charlotte.
Okay.
Best aerobatic display team.
Red Arrows.
I'm going to disagree. It's the Black Eagles.
Anyway, we're going to go now. Bye, guys!
Bye! Bye.
Bye. You're wrong. It's Black Eagles.
Fuck's sake.
Ingredient.